because this is a subject that me and Kelly found extremely important.
And the likelihood that you're going to be the one to be the next viral sensation is not very likely. So betting on luck or betting on you getting, you getting lucky, right? I don't know what I was going to say, but betting on you catching a break and becoming the next sensation isn't really a smart strategy.
So we feel this is something that a lot of people actually struggle with, and they don't even realize that they struggle with.
Then now the quick sales tactics will work, because you're not just sending your sales to just anyone and everyone and possibly intruding on some people's days that don't really care what you're doing.
What you need to do as a business owner to decipher what your strategy is. And it's almost like an internal audit of your business. And what I mean by this is some of these questions can include these. Welcome back, guys, to our second podcast of Back to Basics. And yes, this is B2B. So this is a business podcast, right? And last time we covered how to do the basics and like what the basics of business are and the importance of that. But today, I really think this is an essential thing, Kelly. I think you're really going to agree with me. Is today we're talking about creating a business strategy, right? And what that means, what the differences between strategy, tactics. I mean, we're going to get into the whole thing because this is a subject that me and Kelly found extremely important. And when we first, if you would have asked this to us when we first started doing anything in business, we couldn't tell the difference. We couldn't have told you what it actually is. So we feel this is something that a lot of people actually struggle with, and they don't even realize that they struggle with. But before we get into all of this, it's going to be an amazing episode. We'll introduce ourselves again. My name is Isaac Wienen. I'm the co-founder / CMO of Atito Strategies.
Yeah, and I'm Kelly Aitito. It's nice to see you guys again. I'm not sure if there's any returners, but if you are a returner from episode 1, thank you so much for being here. And we're looking forward to getting better, and we appreciate the support for sure. But nice to see you guys again.
If there is a returners, it's great to see you. If you're seeing this in a future date and looking back, well, welcome, I guess, from the future.
I know for a fact we'll definitely look back at this and go, wow, that was horrible.
Yeah, and we're probably gonna be like, what were we doing? But it's part of the growing process, and that's what I'm kind of excited about too. Like, because we're learning this, we're expanding into this realm of podcasting and talking. I know a lot of this is over Zooms, but still, it's just cool. So, anyways, getting into it. So today we're talking about creating a business strategy, right?
Yeah.
Now, strategy can be interpreted many ways, I think, by people. And I think many people, what would be, for lack of better words, they think of the wrong thing when they say strategy. I think when many people talk about strategy, they don't think long term. I think they think short term, and they actually confine what strategy truly means. Before I get into what I kind of think strategy is, Kelly, what would you say like kind of strategy in total means for obviously business strategy?
Yeah, good question. I would say, I think to begin, I would like to define what strategy isn't, and what strategy isn't tactics, and tactics are, or at least what we define tactics to be, are running ads, posting on social media, and other quick sale tactics like email marketing stuff, right? Sending sales through email or SMS, right? Those are tactics. But a strategy, and if you catch me looking down, I'm looking at my notes. It's just so much.
You're good.
I can't remember all of it, so I wrote it down. But with strategy, there is no right answer. So there's just a choice and a chance to get better, right?
Like that.
And strategy is about the future, and because the future is scary, if you do it and it works, now you're held responsible. But the flip side, if you do it and it doesn't work, now you might feel bad, or you might feel dumb, or you might feel stupid because you invested into it, right? So that's what makes it scary, because it isn't a tactic that says do this, get that. A strategy is about making an assertion about the future and what the future might bring, and then changing according to that, and changing your business to fit the mold of what the future is to bring.
Yeah, yeah, I like that. A common theme I think they're gonna find out that we are always gonna reiterate is adaptability and adaptation
Yes.
because you have to in this business world.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, and so if I were to simplify strategy, I think it aligns with what you would say. Really, I think it's just what is the bigger picture for your business? Like where do you see yourself in the future oriented? And then I think where people misconstrue strategy and tactics is they think strategy is a tactics, but I think strategy is the foundation for your business, and the tactics are the tools you use to help you reach your goals and your whatever you set out to do on that bigger picture. But I think questions for like what is my strategy would be deeper questions like what is my value proposition? Like what do I bring to the table? Like what is my offer? What is the brand you're building? I think these kind of bigger picture things all combine to be more of what the strategy is. And where I think many businesses and business owners get it wrong is when, especially when it comes to marketing, and when they're like, okay, I want to grow my business. I need to get my business out there. I
Mhm.
think the first thing they do, and I know from our personal experience, we did this, right? This was literally what our business was revolved around was these tactics, or kind of how we covered in the last episode, these quick fixes, like let's try to get viral on social media, or let's just pump out a bunch of ads, right? And these are tactics that obviously can be extremely useful, but what we were missing was we didn't have that baseline strategy
Yeah.
of what we were even trying to achieve.
Yeah.
You kind of agree with that?
I do. What I've heard, right, is that trying to go viral is almost like trying to win the lottery. Because, and the example the person gave was, everybody's trying to be the next Kardashian, right? But we already have a Kardashian, and the likelihood that you're going to be the one to be the next viral sensation is not very likely. So betting on luck, or betting on you getting, well, yeah, you getting lucky, right? I don't know what I was going to say, but betting on
Yeah.
you catching a break and becoming the next sensation isn't really a smart strategy, right? So on the flip side of that, the idea we're trying to inform on is, what about something that you can more rely on? So a strategy is, so the the question of a strategy. So what is a strategy? I should have said. So the question is, what is a strategy? Is what do you want to become? So where do you see your business in a year, 5 years, 10 years, right? And then you think, what can I do to get to that part? So, or to get to that point, while making assertions about what the future could bring. At this very moment in time, the change agent in our lives right now is AI. So every business should be making assertions about what they're going to do with AI, how they're going to implement it into their business. Not to take over the business for you, we wouldn't recommend that, but rather to help you be a helper and make things simple. So this is an example of a change agent. A change agent, that's kind of a tongue twister, but a change agent that's occurring at this very moment in time. And I think that it's something that we need to talk about. You don't need to act upon it, but I think you need to talk about it for sure.
Yeah, and at least starting to find ways on how possibly you can implement that in your business. Because obviously, if you're always chasing the next big thing, you're probably gonna be let down a lot because there's a lot of things that are supposed to be the next big thing,
Yeah.
right? But if you see a consistency in which AI is already showing to be after a couple years of, all right, many businesses are moving this way and there's a huge use for it. Well, okay, obviously now you're like, okay, well, I should probably pay attention to this, right? But if there's a new tool that comes out that blows your business up supposedly, right? You don't want to just be the first one to hop on board. I think a deeper point that you're bringing up though, and I mentioned it earlier, was the adaptability though
Yeah,
in your strategy, because I think you got to find that fine line between being able to have a solid foundation in your strategy, right, and abiding by that, but opening it up and letting it be malleable to change. And so I think an example of this, I bring it up a lot, but is with the BlackBerry and the Apple, right? I
yeah,
mean, they were the top of the market, and this story was told to me. Obviously, you can research it, but this story was actually told to me by an old boss of mine because he was talking to me about actually strategy, which is ironic.
yeah.
But
Actually, don't mind me. I'm just adjusting my light. It looks
Oh
a
no, you're
little.
good. Yeah, you're good. But anyways, yeah, so he was telling me, so BlackBerry was like the top of the market, right? They were
Yeah,
the leaders in the phone industry and whatnot. And then this little old company came around called Apple, and they were offering a completely new thing, right? And
yeah,
then, but BlackBerry, they didn't change, right? They didn't see the upcoming change that Apple was going to bring and that the market was going to bring. And even when they did see it, they didn't change to that because they're like, I'm so big, I can't be touched, right? And it's kind of astounding to see something as massive as that corporation who
yeah,
is literally leading it just because they didn't follow change or they didn't implement change into their strategy. Now you don't even see them anymore. And it just shows the power of that. And then I think many people fall a victim to that, especially on the more local, smaller scale.
yeah,
I think many businesses, because it's disheartening when you're like, because if you go online and you say how to grow your business, because I've done, well, I didn't type exactly that, right? But when you're trying to look on things on what to do, what are the things? You'll have these like marketing experts or these gurus going like, okay, post this ad, this or post this many times a day. You're gonna get 10,000 followers. You follow this funnel, right? And you're like, okay, that's cool, but it never works, right? It just doesn't work out like that. And I think it's disheartening because people don't even realize they didn't even have a strategy. They didn't even stand a chance, right, at facing this. Instead, they had these tactics and these quick fixes, but since they didn't have an underlying theme or foundation, they just kind of it
yeah.
was like, yeah, I don't know. I can't think of an analogy right now, but yeah, I don't know what you think about on that, Kelly.
Yeah, I mean, I have tons of stories like that too, right? I cannot remember, and I was that's why you kept looking at me, look down. I was trying to figure out what the company was, but in the '70s, I believe AT&T could have gotten bought out by a telecommunication company at the time that was
Oh,
doing telegrams.
yeah, I know what you're
And
talking about.
they had a chance to buy AT&T because AT&T developed the telephone, but they doubled down on telegrams. And I don't know about you, but I've never used a telegram in my life. Right. So that was a bad strategy from them, right? So there was a change agent, and they decided not to go according to what the system wanted. The system said that we were going to go towards the side of telephones, and they said, no, we're just going to do what we're doing anyway. So they got left in the dust. Another example of that is Kodak, the
Oh
camera.
yeah,
You know what I'm
yeah.
saying? The camera company. They had an opportunity to also invest in digital cameras, but they decided to keep. I don't know what they're called, the older cameras, right? It's not digital,
Are you
whatever
talking
it's
about
called.
Polaroid type or?
I think so. I think that's what Kodak did, but they didn't invest in it. So now we use, obviously iPhone has changed, revolutionized that since then, but we don't use Polaroids anymore. Now it's more so a nostalgic type thing, right?
Yeah, it's like a niche market,
Right.
everything.
Uh, so I have tons of these examples. Like the one that stands out the most is Yahoo having the ability to buy Google in the late '90s for $10 million, and they didn't buy Google. And it
Yeah.
also and also this one wasn't a loss. It was Netflix. So the story goes that the owners of Netflix saw the streaming coming up, and they decided to invest in it. But DVD was about 99% of their income, right, at the time. So what they did was when they held, I don't know what I was gonna say. So what they did was when they held meetings having to do with streaming, they didn't invite anybody from the DVD division because they knew that because it was 99% of their income, they would have they would have had a bunch of things to say about streaming
Yeah.
and had a bunch of negative, like they wouldn't have been progressive towards the thought process that they would have added to that conversation, that meeting wouldn't have been positive. They would have just said, well, no, let's just stick with DVDs. It's what we do. So they didn't allow anybody from that division to be in their meeting. And obviously we know what Netflix has turned into since then, right?
Yeah.
So that's one of the examples out of the four or three I just gave, that one company saw a change agent coming up. They saw an opportunity, right? They saw a system changing, and they didn't say, "Well, we do this thing anyway. We're just going to continue to do that." And I believe that's the path a lot of people are going down, because it's being said, and I also agree that AI is the biggest change to our society since electricity. And
Yeah.
when electricity first came, a lot of the so there was a job where people went around and lit the lamps, the street lights,
Yeah.
right? So they were afraid that they're going to lose their jobs, right? Obviously, they did lose their jobs, and that's a great thing to be afraid of. But instead of figuring out how to use electricity for their own good, they tried to fight it. They tried to fight electricity, and now they lost that fight, right? So the idea behind what I'm saying is there's a change agent coming, and there's nothing you can do about it, because we as human beings want convenience, and we want to progress. So it's going to come, and there's going to be a lot of people that are going to lose their jobs. But losing your job is going to occur if what you do is mediocre. And by mediocre, I mean average. If you do average writing, GPT can do average writing, right? Meaning GPT, Chat GPT, I'm mentioning for anybody that doesn't know what I'm talking about, it can't write a Harry Potter story. But what it can do is write a Harry Potter esque story, because it already has a Harry Potter story to use as a reference. But if you told it to do that, it couldn't, right? So
Yeah.
artificial intelligence also is kind of a hoax, because it's artificial, of course, but it's not intelligent. It's only doing, it's only calculating stuff way quicker than us. We can do what ChatGPT can do. It just can process it way faster than us. So there's nothing intelligent about AI, right? And it's kind of like an oxymoron, the name of it, AI, artificial intelligence. There's nothing intelligent about it. It doesn't have a brain. It's just doing numbers and doing math really, really fast. And so if you are a business owner, I don't think you should be afraid of it. Rather, I think you should use it, right? And what I heard was everyone should be using it for at least 1 hour a day. Just use it for 1 hour a day. See what you can tell it to do. Just have fun with it and just learn it. Because saying that you're not going to learn it because you don't understand it is a bad strategy at this moment, because that's where the world is going. And you can see every business is using it. Oh my goodness, I see it everywhere. On my Facebook, it's telling me you have AI summarizing comments for me, right? Where else? Like there's AI everywhere. Google has AI. I'm like, why do you
Yeah.
need it?
Yeah.
You're the search engine. What are you talking about? You know what I'm saying? I mean, I wouldn't even be surprised if Zoom had AI, right?
I believe they do have.
Right. So everyone is adapting to using AI because everybody wants convenience. Everybody wants to be able to use this tool that's not only amazing. And I just noticed I was doing that thing again where I'm looking at myself and you and not the camera. And I'm sorry, I have to focus. It's so, I don't know how to explain it. It's so weird having to talk to a computer. But
Yeah. I think it's fine if you just look at mine too. I
yeah,
don't know. Anyways,
yeah.
keep going. My bad.
I'll try to keep looking at the camera. But the change agent coming up now with I think is it's not only a negative. There could be bad people. There could be people that use it in a negative way, right? But people use the internet in a negative way. But there's a lot of good that came out of it too. So I would advise and I would encourage business owners to use it for at least one hour a day, and also not to be afraid of it, right? And to use it to amplify the human side of your business, but not to replace you as a business or as the business owner or the people in the business.
Yeah. I think it's funny because we'll probably have to have a whole podcast just on AI. I mean,
We gotta invite somebody to talk about that with.
yeah,
I think
because
I'd like to know somebody else's thoughts on that.
yeah, I might know somebody who's a huge advocate for it, but yeah, it's funny. We're gonna have to have an entire podcast just on AI and just even yeah, just the future it brings.
Yeah,
Um, but yeah, what I think what Kelly was highlighting too in terms of business strategy, I'm gonna use the analogy of I mean chess and soccer, right? In chess, so like AI would be like what Kelly was saying, why where he's like it's not intelligent, but you can use it to amplify. That's like a tool or one of the tactics that you can definitely use AI for, right? We're not saying AI, don't use AI to replace you as a business owner or human being. That's impossible. I can't do that. But use it as a tactic. And in relation to like chess, and I'm also gonna do soccer just because we're both soccer players, but so in chess, you can learn like you can YouTube real quick cool like effective openings, right? That'll help knock out some of the things, right? And maybe you're going like pawn for pawn, bishop for bishop, whatnot on these tactics. But if you're going against somebody who knows what they're doing and has a solid strategy in chess, it's gonna be a bloodbath. You're not standing a chance against this person, right? There's with someone with a solid strategy and a deeper understanding of the game versus who just knows some cool, quick little tips and tricks but doesn't build, you don't have a strong foundation on chess, it's a mismatch, right? And and then in relation with soccer, and I teach this to a lot of kids because I coach, is they're so focused on like, I don't know, skill moves, like juggling around the worlds. Like those are cool, right? Those are cool little what do you say tactics, right? But in relation to soccer, it has no real benefit or impact on you, like these cool little fancy tricks and stuff, right? If you don't practice or you don't stick to a solid strategy as well in soccer. And I know it's kind of rough analogies, but I think it goes to show the power of strategy over tactics. And I'm trying to just highlight that, right? So, off the top of my head, I can just kind of name um, just a couple tactics that people will fall into. So, we've already mentioned some like the social media,
yeah,
um, I don't know why I'm blanking. Like just the ads. And Kelly, what I don't know why I'm blanking so much. Can you just think of just name a couple things that people
yeah,
watching this might even be falling into?
yeah. I say email marketing, SMS
Yeah.
marketing. I would say, uh, like discounts, like in-store discounts and sales, things like that.
Yeah.
Things just think quick sale tactics. So to make a quick sale or quick buck, anything in that manner is what we would call a tactic. But I do want to announce that there's a role for tactics in your marketing
Yes.
strategy. We're not against tactics. What we are against is a tactic being your marketing strategy because it's not it doesn't last.
I would say it's not sustainable.
It's not sustainable long term. And what we're advocating for is building a foundation built on trust, consistency, and loyalty so that once you have that, then you can do the tactics. And it really starts because remember, we want to make this as actionable as possible, right? So it really starts with a customer list, right? And that's what we're going to really advocate for.
Yeah.
Build a customer list. But because what a customer list is to you as the business is something that you own. If anybody watching this has ever ran ads on Facebook, I'm not sure what Google does, but we have experience on the Facebook side of things. Your ad account gets banned just for you breathing the wrong way. Like I kid you not, you can just exhale differently, and they'll be like, "Wait, I don't like that. Ban them." And now your source of customers or your source of uh not income, but your source of the flow
Well, I
of
mean,
customers
if that
coming
was
in,
the whole strategy falls.
right?
Yeah.
It just falls apart, and we just ran into a lot of that, right? And they're just trying to keep everybody safe, but really, like their system doesn't work the best all the time, and it just will kick you off. And if you lose that main thing, and that's the only way you're making money or getting your product or service across, then it's gonna be difficult, right?
Yeah.
So not only can your ad account get banned, your social media account can get banned. You can get, you know what I'm saying? There's a lot of things that can happen that can cause it to be banned. So these are things that you can lose at a moment's notice. But a customer list is yours and you own it, your property. And the way we advise you to do to build the customer list is through permission. So permission marketing
Yeah.
is it's coined. And what that means is you only have a list of people that give you the okay to contact them about sales or discounts, whatever that you want to do.
Promotional offers. Yeah.
Promotional offers, right. So when you have a list of individuals, your smallest viable audience, when you have a list of your smallest viable audience of people that have given you the okay to contact them, now the tactics can work. But but the disconnect between how you get to the customer list is how are you going to build the trust enough for people to want to allow you to do that with them? And that's where our TCL framework comes in. And it says if you build your business, your marketing foundation, if it's built on trust, consistency, and loyalty, then that customer list will get built. When that customer list is built, excuse my tongue, my words getting twisted, but when that customer list is built, then now the quick sales tactics will work because you're not just sending your sales to just anyone and everyone and possibly intruding on some people's days that don't really care what you're doing. Rather, you're sending it to people that have opted in to know what's going on with you. And the likelihood of you converting more and more of those people, and because you built that loyalty with them, they're probably going to support you, is even higher. And now you're investing in something that's going to most likely give you dividends and not just you're shooting in the dark and just hoping that you hit something, and that's the idea that we're trying to really hit on.
Yeah. No, I completely agree. Um, Here's what I'm gonna say. I'm gonna say we're gonna pause for just a second, but when
All
we
right.
come back, we're just going to kind of highlight what it takes and what you should actually be doing to start going like, okay, let's say you're a business owner and you haven't even been thinking about strategy, but you're listening to this right now and you're like, okay, well, I want to start doing a strategy. How can I start doing that?
Yeah.
We can cover that. So we'll be right back. All right, guys. Sorry about that. Also, I don't know if you noticed, but Kelly changed shirts. I
Did I?
believe.
No, no, I didn't.
Oh, wait, did you? Maybe I'm just that oblivious. For some reason, I just now
I've
noticed that
had
you're
it.
wearing
I've
that.
had this on the whole time.
Maybe it was the cam. I don't know. Maybe I'm crazy. Maybe it was just like a
Camera,
little
yeah, I
changing.
had it like this.
Oh, that's
So
probably why. I don't know why I just noticed it. I'm
yeah,
crazy, guys.
no.
Anyways, okay, so where I was leaving off, unlike, and Kelly, I'll let you say after this, but so when you're trying to kind of decipher what a strategy is for you, I think it actually kind of aligns with what when we engage with people we're trying to onboard or make our clients, we ask them pretty much a simple list of questions. And I think it actually aligns with what you need to do as a business owner to decipher what your strategy is. And it's almost like an internal audit of your business. And what I mean by this is some of these questions can include these. So, first and foremost, what is my goal, right? Where do I see myself in X amount of time, either a year, 2 year, 3, 5 year plan, right? So, what is your goal? What do you envision? That's that future orientation. Next is, okay, what am I currently doing to get that goal right now? Okay. And then it's now, what can I do to improve that pursuit of trying to attain that goal? So, what can I do differently? And then, kind of on the same tone as that, is what changes could I make or things can I add to help me get that goal, right? So, I think, correct me if, or you can go against that if you don't think that's right, Kelly, but I think on establishing a strategy for yourself, you first have to understand what it even is that you're doing. Why, find the why of your business. And then from that way, you can create your strategy. And then from the strategy, now that's when you look at the tactics that support that strategic plan that you've set forth. What do you think on
Yeah.
that, Kelly?
Yeah, I would agree. Uh, I think for the most part, I would agree. At at the beginning, I do agree that you need to know what you want first. And it could be as simple as I want to make 10% more profit. It's okay to be profit oriented, right? Because that's what you're doing business for, right? The last episode we mentioned um uh what's doing something significant or no. What was the word we used? Um,
I can't remember right now, but
I can't remember it. But doing something remarkable,
oh yeah, it
right?
was remarkable. Yeah,
Is it remarkable?
yeah,
Okay,
it was
I'm
remarkable.
second guessing myself, but doing something remarkable doesn't mean giving stuff out for free. That's not what we're saying. What we're saying is if you choose to solve a problem for a niche group of people, and you choose to show up consistently and do that consistently, and while you're doing that, fostering not only loyalty, but a trust between the two of you, being the business and the customers, then tactics will seem to be I don't want to like future sighted, but tactics will come a little bit easier. If you do a quick sale like email marketing, right? Or you put something on social media, the likelihood that a lot of people are going to act upon that is probably going to be higher because you've done the hard work. And the hard work is what you already do. But I, I do believe that most businesses just don't know how to capture that list of customers and to be able to understand who their smallest viable audience is. But it is true what you said. You have to start from a starting point, and the starting point with of any strategy should be what is it that we're looking to become.
Yeah,
So strategy is the strategy of becoming. What are we looking to become? What are we looking to change into? And then you say, okay, what tactics, or I should say, what is our plan? Not one plan, but what are our facets of plans to get there? Because relying on just ads is not going to get you there.
yeah,
And if it does, it's gonna be luck that's a part of it. And then now you have to argue how long is that gonna sustain you for until you have to do it again, right? Um, a hustle I mentioned last episode is basically running ads actually. A hustle says we're gonna spend X amount of money, let's say 5 cents. We're gonna make a, a dollar, right? Or let me not even put any monetary value on it. It says we're going to spend a certain amount. We're going to make just enough to do it again the next day. And how repeatable is that? How often, you know what I'm saying? What if you miss a day? What if there's an off day? And there's always an off day with advertising, right? It's not
in
always
off seasons,
right.
or depending on
So,
your business or niche, you can.
so
Yeah,
yeah. Yeah. So the thought process now is instead of shooting in the dark and just hoping that things will work and investing tons of money into it, why not invest in building a customer list for yourself and your future and invest in building a strong foundation that you can look to rely on for years to come. I heard of I heard of a business in dude, I always forget the details. I'm just gonna say China because they were mentioning some in Asia, but
yeah.
that business has been there for over, I think, 100 years, or I think it was like 500 actually. Let me not get.
It was just insane. Yeah.
It was a long time, like 500-year business. I don't even know if anybody has that timeline in their head, but 500-year business, and you know what they did? Oh my gosh, I'm blanking. I'm so sorry. I don't have the full thing, but it was a 500-year-old business, I think. It was just it was a long time. It wasn't 50, it wasn't 100, it was like way more than that, like 150, something like that. But it was a very long time, and they did something very basic, but they did it for a small amount of people, right? So, that begs the question, how can a small business like that last that long? Well, they chose their customers wisely, and they decided that they were going to serve those people and those people only. If anybody doesn't want that, or they don't want to adhere to what they do, they say it's okay and they just move on, or they help that person find what it is that is going to solve that problem for them. But they're gonna have a bit of empathy and say, we're not for you, and I'm sorry, but you have to move on, and you also move on as a business too. But yeah, I would, for the most part, I would agree with you. Yeah.
Yeah. And you just keep mentioning episodes that I kind of had in mind for future podcasts, but I think audience and just finding your audience is one I that we can just expand on, because there's a lot that we can go into that on, like what actually should you be pursuing, or who actually should you be pursuing, right? Should you pursue the whole world, or should you pursue people who are actually going to like your product? Which I kind of put it in a very self-explanatory way, but I think that's definitely a future path that we go to. But you did mention something really important that I want to distinguish. When I say put forth the plan, I'm gonna use us as an example, our business. So when you're making a strategy, again, don't narrow or tunnel vision yourself. I don't know why I can't think of the word, but don't think too short term, right? So if you're like, okay, let me think of a plan. All right, I want to run ads. No, that's wrong, right? What the bigger question would be is, okay, I want to expand my reach. Okay, how do you expand a reach? One avenue is to do ads, right? And that's an example. So now an example from us is we had decided for 2025, we're like, okay, we want to do two things. Well, we want to do many things, but two things of we want to expand our reach, right? But also something that, if you couldn't tell, we both are pretty young, right? So people can take that as almost a negative, right, in business. So what do we want to do? Or how do we combat that? We want to display knowledge of something, right? While also improving our awareness, our brand awareness, right? Okay, so how do we do that? Well, one plan of action is exactly what you guys are watching right now, was through podcasting, right? And starting to hone down on that. Now, podcasting and that is a tactic that we're using to utilize to reach our goal or our plan that we had set. So when I say strategy, that's what I mean. So again, be careful when you're making a plan or strategy for yourself or business, that okay, let me think of the small-minded things. No, no, no. Get out of that mindset, because that is a very detrimental mindset, but it's so easy to fall into. Because if you ask me and Kelly what marketing is, right, we would give you probably something completely different from what if you just ask someone who's new to business or someone who just doesn't know anything about marketing, right? And so that's what I'm just trying to get your mindset out of, is thinking
Isaac,
short-sighted.
Isaac,
Yeah.
one thing, I'm getting my call now. So could we
Oh,
pause real quick?
yeah, you're good.
All right, let me.
We apologize for that other another little interruption. We had actually a call coming through. Anyways, but we've said a lot throughout this, right? And there's a reason we've been honing down and reiterating the same concept of what is a strategy, what is a tactic, right? And it is something that we have both experienced firsthand when dealing with clients, and even just qualifying clients and meeting with them. It's just it was astounding to me that the first thing people think of for trying to help their business is tactics. And then you ask them, okay, well, what is your strategy? And it's astounding that they just don't what they don't have. And what there's more lack than they have need. Or I probably said that wrong. There's more lack of what they need than their aspirations for one, right? I'm still saying that backwards. Essentially, I'm just trying to say they don't have a solid foundation set, and yet they still are trying to attain these massive goals. And that is what we're trying to like kind of ingrain. And the purpose of this podcast is saying you have to start number one at the basics, and number two, you have to create a strategy before you implement these quick fixes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I would say yes. I would say also that people don't people don't gravitate towards that because it's hard. It's really, really hard. It's not easy because if it was easy, everyone would do it. It's way easier to just try to get a sale because you're not on the hook, right? You don't have to follow up. You don't have to, do all the things that having a relationship with somebody kind of what comes with that, right? But what you have to do is, well, let me say it like this. It is very important to establish a relationship with your customers. But because it's hard, a lot of people don't gravitate towards it. So now what we have to do and what our goal is, if we can attempt to make it simple, not easy, but simple for you to do that, meaning it either integrates or it's easily adoptable with your day-to-day operations, right? Whereas you don't have to change anything, just keep doing what you're doing and we'll implement that for you. Or it might change just a little bit, but not a lot.
It'll probably add a little bit, yeah, but
A little bit, maybe a little change, but our goal is to make it as seamless as possible.
yeah.
Because a lot of people, I would say they're not dumb. Nobody watching this is dumb. You might, though, be a person that knows where they want to go, but they don't know how to get there. And we want to help guide you there. We want to help establish that strategy for you. Because if it's like, okay, you want to do it cost effectively, then you have to go and figure out how to build a system to do it for you because systems help you do something more efficiently. And you want to make it efficient. You don't want to add more work to yourself, right? But I will always say this, you can always make more money. So investing in something like a good marketing strategy is always a good thing, right? But you can always make more money. You can't buy more time. So if you're willing to invest that money into something that will save you time and then actually make you more money again anyway, then yeah, I would say give it a try. Give us a try. Let's see if we can actually do something that is worth of value to you, right? And that's what we want to do. We want to be on the hook. We we want to put us up, we want to put ourselves out front to say, can we at least try? If we try for 2 weeks and it doesn't work, we don't gotta go forward. But if you're willing to try, then that's all that matters. Because at least you'll have something to go off of and say, well, I tried that already and it didn't work. So you might just be a unique situation. But give it a try, I would say, right? And if you need the correct steps, please contact us. Contact wow. Contact us through either our email or DM us through our social media. You'll either get with either me or Isaac, probably me really. This is my thing. I really like this. Isaac is more than capable also, but this is really my thing. I really enjoy doing this. But yeah, let's sit down, let's talk. Let's talk about where you want to be, what your goals are, what your dream is, and then let's figure out if we could be of service to help you get there. Maybe you don't want to use us, but you just want a strategy. We're still here to help
Yeah.
if you
Yeah, I
want
mean,
that.
I'll just back that. Everything again is just click our YouTube. If you click our little logo, it'll take you to our profile. I'm sure you know that. And then in our description, we have all the links to everything. We even have it takes you straight to our website on the contact us page where you can just book a call. And again, this isn't a plug for us trying to just steal your money. Like genuinely we're trying to be completely transparent.
Yeah, yeah,
This is for us just
genuinely.
to sit down and
Yeah,
talk with you and try to help you, see if we can even help you. And if we
yeah,
can't, then we will do whatever we can to
yeah.
help.
I would say genuinely, I really don't care if you don't want to do it our way. If you're just looking for a strategy, I want to help. I
Yeah.
want to help you establish that strategy. I really don't care if you don't want to use our system, right? Because there's plenty of systems out there. What differs is our philosophy, right? You can go get a system maybe a little bit better than ours. But is the philosophy a long-lasting plan that that is built to sustain you long term, or is it just supposed to give you, a boost in profits or whatever your goal is in the moment and then crash later? I don't know.
Yeah.
But I feel that with us, we're not looking for that. We're looking for a long-term, sustainable plan that will look to maybe you'll be that 500-year-old business someday. I don't know. I
Yeah.
have no idea. But I really don't care, and it really doesn't bother me if any one of you contact us just to see what's up. But
Yeah.
if you're not interested, it's
Even
okay.
just to have a talk, have any questions,
I
anything.
would I would love to conversate with anyone who is willing to who's willing to find the time for sure.
Yep.
Let's yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I think we've reached the end of this podcast. So if you made it this far, again, thank you so much. It would mean a
Yeah,
lot if you could just like, and if you
yeah,
want to, and comment, especially ask us questions, or if you have experience or you have even debates about it. We
yeah,
love we love any of that, any interaction. Again, we're excited to go on this journey with you and to continue growing. We do have some really good topics that we're going to be talking about, and we already are and are starting to think on like, okay, what are some guests that we can bring on? We have some pretty cool guests that we already have in mind, and then hopefully we can get on the show that'll also bring in more
yeah.
insights onto business.
Yeah, this has to be one of the most. This is the second episode, but this is the most informal one we had so far. And I'm just assuming more than going to be this informal. So let's get used to it. I don't want to be inauthentic. I want to be professional, but I want to come in as ourselves and not try to put on a facade. That this is who we are. This is
Yeah,
how we talk. And we're humans. We're humans just like you, but we want to help in any way we can. So if you're willing to offer your time, we'll also find time for you. Even if it's not to use our system, like I said, that's okay. I would love to speak to you. I think Isaac would still like to speak to you
right.
also. So if you are willing to find the time, we'll find the time for you also.
Yes, sir. That's perfectly said. So, and again, if you like this and you want to see more, just subscribe. And I guess without more to do, it was good seeing you guys, or you guys seeing us talk to you again, and we'll see you in the next episode.
I didn't get to do my outro, but that's all
Oh,
right.
you want to do it?
Nah, I just want to wrap it.
Okay.
Let's wrap it up.